back to Living with Grace Ann here. And in this video, I wanted to at least talk about understanding where others are coming from. And I understand sometimes we don't have the time. I understand we think in our minds it's too much to deal with other people's emotions, to deal with other people, period. But it's like compassion can be exercised just by simple understanding, something that we apply with our loved ones, and a level of measure for others. Okay, so we're going to talk about that in this video. And if this is for you, continue watching. If it's not, watch some of my other videos. I like to speak about experiences that I've been through as I learn, and speaking about God's grace and how sufficient it is enough for us, because he understands what we're going through, understands why we're going through. He understands what has happened to us. He understands how to heal us, and he knows who to use in order for us to get better understanding and to learn a different approach, his approach to living our everyday life. Okay, so now let's talk about compassion. Let's talk about loving others and seeing it and recognizing it and not dismissing it. You know, the simple gesture of someone saying, "How are you? How's your day? How are you feeling?" We respond to it in a way where it's just, "I'm good, I'm fine, I'm blessed," and all that stuff. And a lot of people speak about this because it's a simple answer given as you're doing what you got to do, as you're crossing paths, as you're passing someone, as you're just having simple conversation. It's a simple answer that we give to others without any depth or meaning or even curiosity or knowing or wanting to know how their day is. Personally, I know that it's easy to make simple conversation, especially if I'm busy and I have my schedule and I know where I'm going and my body's like actually doing it, so that when I'm passing people, it's like, "Yeah, how are you? Da 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 da." I tend not to say that anymore because a lot could be going on in their world, and that may be the only interaction that they'd have with someone to actually verbalize and express it. But realistically, it's like in my mind, I don't have time. To be honest, it's easy and simple to like dismiss. We don't even realize we're dismissing them, but we're just like being casual about it and being normal, or being, how could I say this? Passive? I shouldn't even say passive. Let me use this word. I don't know. If you can come up with a word, help me out, okay? Because I think you understand what I'm trying to say. In our everyday doing and going and having our, our to-do list, and we're actually physically doing it, we're passing people and we're saying, "Hi, how are you?" Even people we've known for years. "Hi, how are you? How are you doing? How are the kids? How's this? How's the husband? How's that?" So it's a quick, simple gesture. I think that maybe that we have towards one another as we're doing our everyday, right? So in terms of compassion, we have compassion for those that are around us, those that we live with, those that we see every day, because it's like that's part of our everyday world. And to me, to be honest, the more that we create peace, the more that we want peace, the more that we love our surroundings, and the more that we enjoy to go back to our surroundings, which is our home life and stuff, we ultimately change it to that capacity where it's like, it's more enjoyable. And even at all that, it takes time and effort within us to create that, for us to do that, right? So when we meet people on the outside, it's justified when we just say, "Hi, how are you?" It's justified to see the person at the market that we see all the time, the cashier or the teller at the bank that we know all the time. The simple conversation is normal for us to have, because that's what we're limiting ourselves to have, to contain and to manage what we have with our everyday. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because the level of compassion that we have for others doesn't always require the same amount of compassion you have for those that you actually live and invest your time with. The level of compassion that you should have, or I think should be given for others that we pass, is manageable. The reason why I say this is because I was a person that was sort of indirectly screaming out for help. Even though I had my life, grew up, learned certain things, I knew I wasn't happy. I knew that I was angry. I knew that I was frustrated. I knew I wanted to change my life, and I just didn't know how. I knew how to scream for help, whether it be through violence, through arguing, screaming, through even acts that I've done to myself because I didn't really love myself. I knew that for myself, but it was hard to relay it to someone that even was honest, like came into my life, honestly asked me, "How are you doing, Ann?" or "Is everything okay?" Because they recognized something was wrong and they didn't know how to fix it, but they wanted to at least be attentive for me during that moment, whether it be a principal, a teacher, a friend, like one of my friends, their mothers or something like that, or their parents would notice something. And to be honest, here and now today, as I am still continuously healing, I can say that it did help when someone did reach out. It did help when my music teacher said, "Ann, are you okay?" because she recognized something. It did help when my aunt asked me, what's going on, Anne? It did help when I did have a boyfriend that said, Anne, like a compassionate one, or like someone that seen the anger and didn't want to take it personal or even contribute to it. And what's going on? What's wrong? You know? And so I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm trying to at least make you aware, at least show you how that very notion or the very moment of being concerned or caring, knowing that you can't do everything for that person, but to be there for them at that moment and be used to allow them to speak out, to hear themselves, not even for you to be that psychiatrist or doctor or anything like that, but just for them to actually know and feel that someone actually genuinely cares. It's a lot, because when you're in that bubble, you feel like no one cares about you. It's like the way you see the world is so different. Like you don't trust anybody. You don't see any and everybody as help or a means of getting out of the funk or renewing your mind or changing your thought process or seeing the world as they may see it as a beautiful place, because you're in your bubble. You're hurt, you're hardened, and you're protecting yourself, and you're in savage mode, like you're on beast mode, right? And in terms of protecting yourself. So you're not going to trust anybody. So that moment that you actually say, how are you doing? It's like pause for a moment. Pause and sit and listen, even if you don't have to say something back, just sit and listen so they can hear themselves. And then even in that, an answer may occur, or something may help them release for that moment. Not saying that they're going to gravitate to you and call you, when you're in your bed and call you all the time and relying on you to be that listening ear, but at least they felt that caring moment. They felt that compassion. They felt actual love. And it doesn't have to be a love where you're caressing them and all that stuff, but that kind of love where it's like they have never felt before. So I just wanted to bring light to that, because it helps. And I'm looking this way because the trees are blowing and I know it's going to rain. I know it's going to rain. I know it, but I still need to go outside. Anyhow, so going forward, when you're balancing out your life, and I know in the back of your mind, like, I really don't care about this person because they're so annoying. I have to tolerate this person at work. I have to do this and that. Like, to be honest, that heaviness and that weight and that even that notion of knowing that you are tolerating or you cannot deal with that person is an indication that that person may be going through something. Not saying you need to carry the weight, but you're recognizing it. Don't dismiss it. Really don't dismiss it. And again, when I received help, or even those that actually listened to me, it helped me to like make better decisions for myself. It also made me aware that I had some deeper issues that I needed help with. And it also, even without that person being around and just give me that 10 minutes of their time in crossing and passing in the elevator or in the lunchroom or whatever the case may be, for me to sit alone with myself to say that I wanted better for myself, whether it be counseling, whether it be cutting certain friends off, whether it be recognizing that this is toxic and this isn't, I need to focus on this and not focus on that. Like, it helped me with the decisions that I make going forward, trying to help myself, knowing that I had to deal with myself and I had to live in this world. So it does help when you stop and pause and you actually are a listening ear. Doesn't take that long. And it does help with society, because the thing is, people's anger is justified. People stealing, robbing, people cussing you out is justified in the moment, because that's how they're feeling. That's how they're relaying it. You might have been like that once like in your past, whatever. You're not like that anymore, or you probably were not like that and you don't want to relate to someone like that. But there are people out there that act like that for a reason. Their past or whatever that's going on in their life is affecting them. Not saying you're a doctor, just saying compassion. Try not to take it personal. Even if you don't want to be there for them, that's okay. Give them a blah and say, okay, they're probably having a bad day. But those that you're crossing and passing, it just takes a couple minutes to actually say, how are you doing? Do you know what I'm saying? It's just a couple minutes. And I'll leave and end this video by saying this. Saying something nice to someone, leaving a good comment or a good, kind words, soothes the savage beast. It really does. It calms people down and actually makes them face themselves. Because there's times where I was angry and I'd cuss people out and they'd say nice things to me. And that the roaring lion in me would just calm down and say, oh my gosh, Anne, you're wrong. And calm down, and ooh, and made me reflect on self, because I was the only one making all the noise. So anyways, I'm going to wrap up by saying that practice compassion. It just takes a few minutes. It takes a few seconds. And even understanding, even if you don't talk to the person, understanding that maybe they're going through some stuff. Maybe they just experienced a death. Maybe they just lost their job. Maybe they had a bad past. Maybe they're in a bad relationship. Maybe you don't know, but give them the benefit of the doubt instead of snapping back at them, because somebody has to do better. Somebody has to do better, right? Anyhow, I'm gone. See you.